Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I sense this is a home crowd. I'm Bill Scott Carr. I'm the publisher at Transworld. I've also got the honour of being Joseph's editor, for which I am inordinately proud. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for Waterstones for having us. We are so thrilled to be launching this book that we care deeply about right here. And Dave, it's over to you.
Are you going to do a little reading for us?
I have been strong-armed into doing a reading. I know from my experience of sitting in crowds that a reading can never, ever be short enough. But I lost the vote on this one, unfortunately. A very short reading. Afterwards, I went back onto the night shift. They'd never trust me in the daylight again. I spent my time responding to 4 a.m. emergency calls, walking up and down dead escalators and trying not to think. I've been good at that once. I could hardly believe it a few months later when I saw my breath in the air again. Saw November coming back around. "Shitting it down," said Sutty, refusing to get out of the car. Sometimes it was hailstones, sometimes it was slush. Tonight it was sheet rain, catching the light and cleaning down the streets. They needed it. The whole town was as dirty as old money.
So that was Aidan Waits, who is the narrator of the book, who was a suspended police officer. While you were reading it, I wondered, did you actually in your head have an idea of what his voice sounded like as a real person? Did he have an accent? Who is he?
He certainly had something of a northern accent. Obviously, he's from Manchester, although his origins are a little bit murky. More than the way it sounded was the way it had to read. That was what was really important to me, and that was really where the main suffering of writing the novel happened. It was I could very easily write the sequence of events, and indeed probably 8 years ago had the first third of the book in terms of plot. It was just the facts presented in a dry, boring way, and it had no swing, and it had no poetry, and it had no dance to it, and that was the whole. I spent many years just rewriting the same chapters for years to get, I suppose the sound right, but for me it was more about how it read than how it should sound in someone's head, I suppose.
One of the early things is that he first sees Isabel, the young woman that he's looking for, at a party, and obviously it's set in Manchester, and it's interesting. Obviously, some of the places are recognisable. Some of them are actually, Deansgate, for example, Beetham Tower, etc. We know, but some of them are kind of a composite, I think, of various things. But the party is described in a kind of big house on the border of Withington and West Didsbury.
Yes.
It's not my house, is it? Do we know each other?
It was the house of a mystery man, actually.
Yeah,
so it's very possible that.
So can you tell me about that party? Because that's kind of very much the jumping off point of the novel, isn't it?
Well, that party first of all comes from a real life party that I went to when I was a young man, and it was just a raucous place to be, and the kind of place that someone as lame as me should never be, obviously. And so it was filled with drink and drugs and everyone kissing each other except me. And the interesting thing about the house was that no one knew who owned it. No one at the party that I spoke to knew whose party it was. And it was sort of a mystery. It wasn't just a laugh at the time. It was people would nudge you and say, "This is his party, he's throwing this thing," and then someone else would say to you, no, this is his thing, he's running this thing. And it was very clear that whoever was behind it was concocting some kind of mystery behind it, maybe for legal reasons, maybe whatever. But at the time I was reading The Great Gatsby, and of course Gatsby is throwing these raucous parties, and I just thought, hang on, maybe there's an update here. Instead of Gatsby's lavish jazz age parties, I could have raucous drink and drug fueled parties, and instead of Gatsby's lost love, I could have a literally missing ex-girlfriend, and instead of the neighbour wandering in and being seduced by it, I've got a naive undercover detective who will be destroyed by it. And that was the first spark. So I think that sets the context for what those parties are. There's something already innately mysterious about them before you even get to the fact of I'm there to look for a missing 17-year-old girl.
The episodes also, some of them, or the parts of the book, take their name from albums by Joy Division and New Order.
Yes.
And again, hearing you talk about Manchester at night, you're also, in a way, you're feeding into and off the mythologies.
Absolutely. It's a heightened reality. It's romanticized unashamedly. Absolutely. I don't want to write about he did this, he did that. I want to say how they did it, why they did it, how they looked at each other while they did it. That is all the things. Those are all the things that excite me. And yeah, the Joy Division references in particular. There's, again, something noirish and magical about those recordings, about even the titles that they gave those recordings, and perhaps due to Ian's death, a sort of doom that hangs over those recordings that it's inescapable for me, that I'm in love with. I'm absolutely in love with, and that is how I feel about this city, and it's how I feel about the book as well.
I know that your dream job was always to be a writer, and you are now a writer. This is a great piece of work. How do you feel now, kind of embarking on that? Is there a little bit of trepidation in terms of, can you match the work? Do you want to, even doing the interviews, to be honest, are you happy doing that? How do you feel at literally day one of your writing career?
I'm well up for it. I'm so determined that the second book is coming back bigger, badder, harder, more intelligent, more violent, more mysterious, everything that you want, because I haven't sold it enough. But that is really my ambition. My ambition. It's lovely being here. I need to very quickly say something about this shop and everyone in it. Most of you I know and love, which is amazing, and you can imagine quite daunting, but wonderful. But I think everyone in this room would agree that Waterstones Deansgate have gone above and beyond on this book and their support for it. It's absolutely unbelievable. And for those, some of you will know and some of you won't, is that I used to work in this shop, and in fact I spent many happy years working in this room. It's why none of it is in alphabetical order. Probably. No. It is now. I can see the manager looking at. No. It's my influence has been purged from this building. I think you can tell that by how beautiful it really looks. It is amazing, and I would love to hear a round of applause for James Mackenzie and the entire team.
You've spent all that time, you've got your work colleagues here, you have your family here, you've got your girlfriend here, all those other people that are important. And I know that for them, they must be very proud of you, because I know that, writing a book, there's a lot of time, there's a lot of imagination, but the amount of emotional investment that you make, and I know that you made. And although we have had, we've had a very relaxed and we've had a laugh on the stage, ultimately I just would like to say it's a great work of fiction. Absolute genius. Well done. Joseph Knox.